Hello there once again. It's your old pal Locke the Bounty Hunter, and on today's very special episode, we are looking at one of my favorite channels. It's complicated. This man does absolutely brilliant work, and he does it in the streets of downtown Las Vegas. This man is a champion amongst gents. Link is in the description down below. If you haven't subscribed to him already, please go to his channel and subscribe. Today's video is called Breakups, Rules of Modern Dating and Understanding Women. Didn't know such a thing was possible, but let's not waste any more time and dive right in, shall we?
What advice would you give to your ex's new lover?
Oh, call the police.
What advice would your ex give to your new lover?
Run from the police.
Wow, that is truly profound. My ex has taken on a new lover. I wouldn't know because I cut ties with my exes after it's done, because what they do with their lives is none of my business, and vice versa. But that's just me.
What determines whether or not you stay friends with your ex?
You don't. That's typically best practice. If they're your ex for a reason.
How they treated you at their worst. Nobody should stay friends with their ex.
Amen. But I have a feeling that this woman is going to add a button there.
Unless you were like childhood friends or something, you know?
Called it. I would even go so far to say if you're childhood friends and you ended up becoming romantically linked and you broke up, that relationship is severed. There is no way you're going to be able to patch that up. There is still going to be too much between you that there's no going back, which is why I will always be a firm believer. If you break up with somebody, just cut the ties, move on with your life. That's the best thing the both of you can do. Again, that's just one man's opinion, and mine does not come from a place of greatness.
What advice would you give to your ex's new lover?
Run as fast as you can, please.
Woman, you have a ring through your septum. You belong on a farm.
Please run.
What advice would your ex give to your new lover?
She's crazy. That's okay, because he could deal with me and you couldn't.
That is not something you should proudly admit.
Why do women admit to being complicated, emotional, even crazy, and think that's acceptable behavior?
Because society has condoned it. These women have been raised since birth to believe that they are these precious, amazing creatures who can do no wrong, that they are so important to the foundation of humanity that they can act out, sleep around, and do all sorts of messed up stuff to men and still be convinced that they are the innocent victim in all the chaos they've created.
Because they feel if they admit it, they don't necessarily have to change it.
What determines whether or not you stay friends with your ex?
If you guys didn't end on bad terms,
yeah,
if it's
how
bad
you break
terms,
up, for sure.
Yeah.
Can someone in the comment section explain to me how you break up with somebody on good terms?
But if it's bad, just leave it alone.
Have you experienced more heartbreak, or have you broken more hearts?
Experience more heartbreak.
I think I've broken a lot of hearts.
One of them's lying. Take a guess which one.
You know, I'm a heartbreaker.
Oh my God, why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised? Woman, you've got metal shoved in 2 different parts of your face and you're sporting a chest tattoo, and yet I am not surprised you still have an army of simps lining up around the block with the chance of seeing you naked. That is a distressing thought.
I don't get my heart broken because I don't get attached.
You don't get your heart broken because it's clogged with cholesterol. Let's not mince any words here.
Is experiencing emotional pain more likely to make a person stronger or bitter?
I don't think you can have one without the other, personally.
Stronger. Well, actually, it depends on what type of woman you are, because you do have a lot of bitter bitches out here. But for me, it makes me stronger.
Definitely more bitter every time, especially women.
Sad. That question makes me sad because it's my first instinct to say it'll make them bitter.
And yet here you are smiling.
And that makes me sad.
I think bitter because I am a bitter person sometimes and I can't let things go easily. It takes me a little bit.
Women do not let go of things easily. I have yet to meet a woman who doesn't hold a grudge against somebody for something.
But then it makes me stronger in the end, if that makes sense.
That doesn't make sense.
So would you advise men to date younger women with less trauma and baggage then?
Oh my God, look at those faces. You know they know the answer and they're terrified of admitting it. But the answer is a resounding yes. That is why older men who are single will go after younger women. Well, that and the biological drive to find someone who's fertile.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
No, they gotta deal with the women that they've traumatized. Date your age.
Why? Why should we deal with you? Because here's the thing, the guys you're talking to, we did not traumatize you. We had absolutely nothing to do with that. The reason why we didn't traumatize you is because you pretended we didn't exist for years on end. So why should we have to deal with the trauma that someone else caused? Sorry, sister, there's no chance in hell I am going to be dealing with your baggage. Your problems are your own.
Younger women do not have less baggage and trauma or anything else. Younger women don't have a lot of life experience.
They don't have a lot of life experience, then that means they don't have nearly as much baggage as a woman over 30 who made a bunch of terrible life choices. You know this answer to be true. That's why you're freaking out right now, and that's why your eyes are wider than your legs when you're drunk on a Saturday night.
Obviously, because they're younger, and having been, you know what, I can talk shit about 20-year-old girls because I've been a 20-year-old girl.
Yeah, you weren't a good one either.
And if you are on the same emotional plane as a 20-year-old girl, that says a lot about you if that's who you are dating, and I don't suggest it.
So the older you are, the more jaded you are, basically.
Pretty much, because you've been through it all, and then every time you go through a breakup and go through that, you get bitter and bitter. Your guards are up all the way.
You're the one who made the poor choices, so why should the men be suffering for your terrible mistakes?
At what point in a relationship can a person let their guard down?
Never let your guard down, because you know what? You can be with somebody for 10, 20, 30 years. You never know who somebody really is.
What determines when the honeymoon stage of a relationship is over?
Once you realize that life isn't a fairy tale.
When you fart in front of each other.
A lot of people believe that the whole relationship is a honeymoon stage. That is incorrect. You will work on your relationship for the rest of your life, but the only catch is that you're working with somebody that you love and you're willing to work with.
Why do the quirky things we find endearing at the beginning of a relationship become the things we find annoying at the end of a relationship?
Because they're not just endearing. You are trying to convince yourself that they are. You never found them endearing. You just think you did.
Because when you break up with someone, those quirky things that you used to love, they will use against you and hold against you.
Honestly, it's because everything is new, everything is fresh, everything is fun. But then you'll slowly start to get annoyed with the guy, especially if he's not the one that you truly desire. So they'll use those quirks against you as a means to break up so they can go find something fresh and fun and repeat the cycle over and over again.
Through experience.
Who is more vindictive during a breakup, men or women?
Women.
Women, all the way.
I think men would get more butthurt.
Who is more likely to walk away and who's more likely to burn all your stuff and key your car?
Women.
I think women are more likely to burn all your stuff and key your car, especially because of that bitterness.
Women, probably.
women.
I hate to say it, but
Yeah, no.
they probably deserved it.
So you're advocating for women to commit felonies. You are telling women to commit felonies, and it's totally okay because the guy probably deserved it. That is irresponsible.
Why are men typically seen as being more aggressive than women when being rejected?
Because I think for a woman to key your car, it takes a lot.
It really doesn't. A woman will key your car if you trim your beard differently.
But for men to get rejected, they just get pissy right away.
Because men cannot take rejection.
What are you talking about? A man's life is rejection. We have to work insanely hard to prove our worth to our family, to our employers, and to the people in our circles. The second we don't prove our worth, we get rejected. We deal with rejection on a day-to-day basis. We're just tired of dealing with high and mighty broads who don't add up to the value they place on themselves.
They can't handle it.
Men are more like physically aggressive. Honestly, women just get crazy. We're not going to beat you up, but we're going to burn your shit.
Because women are more emotional, and the little things that we do affect them more than the large things they do to us.
If women are more likely to do crazy shit, why are they more likely to be seen as victims?
Because there's a double standard. Men are men, women are women, and as a man you must be strong, and as a woman it is okay to be vulnerable, and so therefore that gives you the opportunity to play a double standard.
Is it easier to move a girl into your life or out of your life?
Into your life.
Which costs more?
Into your life.
Why?
Because women expect money from you. That's like one of the biggest determining factors when it comes to relationships. How much is the man willing to pay?
Yeah, because you'll be spending money the whole time she's there.
Who puts more effort into forming relationships, men or women?
Men.
Probably women, because I don't know, there's something deep down inside of us. We all want that like perfect relationship. We try to have all these high expectations, which usually don't go the right way, but
It's because you've been brainwashed by animated films and romantic comedies into thinking that you are entitled to some type of happy ending that doesn't exist. A lot of women out there think that a marriage is the happy ending and everything's gonna be happy and perfect, and that's not how it works. If you're gonna maintain a decades-long relationship, it's gonna take a lot of work, and most women aren't even willing to wash dishes without starting an argument.
do try.
Men are generally the ones that have to take the first step. So a man has to accept the fact that he must be vulnerable to get the attention of a woman that he is interested in.
Who puts more effort into ending relationships?
Women as well.
Probably women. I mean, I feel like they put more effort into keeping the relationship there and trying, and then when there's nothing left, they self-sabotage.
How do you figure? How do you figure that women keep trying to make a relationship work? Because from the looks of it, it's the man who keeps trying, but the woman refuses to accept the man's effort. When she decides that she wants to be done, she's going to trick herself into thinking that she needs to wait until she is ultimately the victim to move on.
And they sabotage the relationship.
Why are 70% of divorces initiated by women?
Because they're vindictive and they want free stuff.
Because we get tired of you men. You guys are little assholes.
That's just mean.
I mean, I'd say guys are worse than girls. They're just calling it quits. And, you know, yeah, definitely guys.
Why are 70% of divorces initiated by women?
Money.
70% of divorces are initiated by women. Are women to blame for initiating divorce, or are men to blame for driving women to initiate divorce?
Women are to blame for initiating divorce. A woman will initiate divorce because she feels quote unquote unhappy, even though there is no real definition for the term unhappy. They just don't feel like they did at the beginning of the relationship when they were madly in love. So therefore the marriage must have failed, and they use that as a grounds for divorce. And then they take the guy to the cleaners for alimony and child support. It's a game that men cannot win.
The men are definitely the ones driving us to the divorce. Do your job right and stop making us get divorced with you.
Well, I don't think you need to worry about that, sister. You're never going to be put into a position to need to divorce a guy, so your flex is really unnecessary right now.
Is it easier to move a girl into your life or out of your life?
Out.
Which costs more?
Out.
Why?
They want half your stuff.
What are your thoughts on the following expression? It's cheaper to keep her.
It's cheaper to never get involved.
It is not. Financially, it may be cheaper to keep her, but emotionally, the faster you can move on both ends, emotionally will be less taxing, and in the long run, that will save not only money, it will save emotion, time, life, and overall emotional well-being.
I mean, it's going to cost you a hell of a lot more to find your way out of a marriage with a woman who you know could probably take you for everything you're worth.
There's very little good about it. Alimony and child support law are written to benefit not only the woman, but the judge and the court as well. For every single dollar that a woman gets in child support and alimony, the judge is getting a kickback as well, and it's all legal and above board.
And quite frankly, it's probably a lot cheaper to not do things to make her leave.
I find it incredibly interesting when it comes to the subject of divorce. These women will always blame the man without any context for anything else. From what I've been seeing, the man is trying everything he possibly can to keep the marriage stable, but the woman won't have it. She's already made her decision. She's just building up the ammo she needs in order to get a good court case.
Or make her want to leave.
In a long-term relationship, people can grow together or they can grow apart. Is there a good way to know which one is more likely to happen?
I mean, honestly, if I had to venture a guess, I would say take a look at her habits. Is she addicted to her phone? Does she spend a lot of time texting? Does she post a lot on social media? Does she measure her validation in likes and clicks and subscribes? If that's the case, then I would say that there is not a whole lot of hope of that relationship growing into something that can remain stable.
The good way to know is whether your partner's willing to compromise or not.
That's a good
If
one.
everyone lived to be 1,000 years old, how likely are people to never get sick of their partner?
I don't see how people can reach the age of 60 and still stand the people they're with. Nobody is willing to put in the work anymore to make things work. They want the baby, but not the labor pains. So these long-term relationships, these marriages that last until the folks are in their 90s, it's just not possible anymore.
You'd get very sick of your partner. It's very likely to get sick of your partner.
Yeah, people live to their 90s now and they get sick of it.
How many people in your family are divorced?
0.
Do you know more people who stayed together or who separated?
It's a sad fact of life. It's too easy for people to get divorced now, and people are more willing to end things than try to make things work. That's just how society is now. It's kind of sad.
Probably separated.
There's more people that have separated than stayed together.
Separated.
Are you divorced? And if so, what red flag did you ignore before you got married?
Yes, and I ignored his narcissism, all of it.
The red flag I ignored was the breaking up and getting back together.
I am divorced. The red flag that I ignored was that I should have paid more attention, but at the same time, I didn't feel equally amount of respect, so it created an issue.
When you get into a relationship with somebody, it is incredibly easy to be blind over this stuff, especially if you've been lonely. Lonely people will put up with a ton.
Is a man's fear of divorce and losing half equivalent to a woman's fear of marrying a man who will end up leaving her with nothing?
A prenuptial agreement is just about as useful as a house built on a foundation of pure sand. There are lawyers out there who will dismantle a prenuptial agreement as if it were nothing. Even if you think it's ironclad, there's still ways around it.
Yeah, because you got a preconception that the relationship's not going to be working from the off, I suppose.
If you really in love with somebody, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't worry if they're trying to take your money after you leave.
And here we go with the love card. If you truly loved me, you wouldn't have to worry about me mooching off you. That is not an argument. We're not talking about love here. Love fades, and before it does, it makes you stupid. The prenuptial agreement is there because you need to have a foundation of trust and respect. That man needs to trust that you're not marrying him strictly so you can take his money and that you will respect him. And if you're freaking out over having to sign a prenup, he already has his answer.
So why do you need a prenup? You trust that person, you give. If it's true love, I believe that's why.
True love was invented by Hollywood screenwriters in the 1930s after the Hayes Act censored 99% of movie content, and they needed a way to end their stories. That's all true love is.
I'm not in love, because if it's true love, all of those inhibitions go out the window.
You just want money. You can go ahead and say all of these things. Well, if you love me, you wouldn't make me do this. Nobody's making you do a thing. Don't sign it. Don't get married. It has nothing to do with love. It's called CYA. And you would do the same thing if the tables were reversed.
My money's my money, and I mean, unless you're a broke boy, you wouldn't be offended by me asking you for a prenup.
Why wouldn't a woman be the first one to suggest a prenup to reassure her man she's not marrying him for his money?
Because when it comes to finances, a woman's philosophy is very simple. What's mine is mine. What's yours is mine. That's the philosophy that they have.
Because she's marrying him for his money.
It's not insulting, but it is. I mean, nowadays we all know we're about to get divorced, so I mean that's what you're going to prepare from that from the beginning.
No, it's not insulting. You're just choosing to be insulted.
Would you get married if divorce was illegal?
I wouldn't get married, period. Because even if divorce was illegal, that's not going to stop this broad from somehow fleecing me for all I'm worth. Just because she can't do it legally doesn't mean that she'll figure out some other way to take all of my stuff. No thanks. It's not worth it.
Absolutely not.
Why?
You think you know somebody, and then you spend 5 years with them, and then you marry them, and then a few months later, they show you who they really are.
Do you think women would still get married if divorce was illegal?
They wouldn't.
I mean, it'd be less. It'd be less likely.
So why should a woman have an escape plan, but a man shouldn't?
Because women are precious, delicate little flowers. Because women are somehow at a disadvantage in today's society, even though nobody can give an accurate definition as to what that particular disadvantage is. It's almost as if it doesn't exist.
I mean, it's a valid question, to be fair. I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, valid question.
Since men typically get screwed in divorce, shouldn't every marriage have a prenup?
Yes, if you are dumb enough to get married, you should have some type of prenuptial agreement. At least you have something, even though that woman is probably going to hire a lawyer who can rip that thing to shreds faster than Cersei shredded Bobby B's will in front of Deadly Nedley and Joffrey, if you get your Song of Ice and Fire references. But at least it would be something.
Probably.
Since men typically get screwed in divorce, shouldn't every marriage have a prenup?
No. Who said that?
Woman, tell me you want an easy paycheck without telling me you want an easy paycheck.
Who said men typically? Is that a fact?
Yes.
Statistically, I mean, you know, the majority of alimony and child support payments are paid from men to women.
Don't say you don't feel like that's true.
Gotta be more careful.
The fact that you're willing to sign a prenup and then he is also is only showing that you both understand that a relationship is 50-50. Although you can say it's 100-100, I put 100, you put 100, but we both understand that not everything works out to the best situation, and we are both prepared if that is the situation.
Thus implying that the vows of fealty that you swear to each other are completely and utterly meaningless. To have and to hold, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, or sickness and in health, or until neither one of us are feeling it anymore. And who says chivalry is dead?
Would you get married if it was just a ceremony with no government documents?
Yes.
I'm going to catch some flack for this one, but I'm totally fine with that. I am fervently against the bureaucratic institution of marriage because it's one gigantic racketeering scam which benefits bureaucrats and incentivizes women to completely destroy men. So if two people want to see a spiritual union that keeps the government out of it, I'm totally cool with it. You do you.
Does the fact that the church won't marry you without a government license violate the separation of church and state?
Technically, yeah.
Why would conservatives who say they want smaller government want the government involved in your love life to begin with?
I don't think anybody should be concerned with your love life, especially yours, because look at you. I think you got maybe 1 to 2 years tops before your love life becomes virtually non-existent.
That's a good question. Why do you want to be involved in my love life, government?
That's going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. As always, thank you so much for checking out the new video. If you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button and ring the notification bell so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Special thanks to the It's Complicated channel. This guy is making some fantastic content. Link is in the description down below. Please check out his channel. Give him some likes. Give him your subscribe. Get the word out. This guy deserves so much more than what he's currently getting. Thanks again for hanging out with me today, and until next time, peace out, homies.